Unfiltered Strength Podcast. Raw conversations. Raw conversations. Real strength. Real strength. Real strength. With your hosts, Zach Price and Connie Nightingale.
All right, welcome to episode 3 of the Unfiltered Strength Podcast. Today we have Blake Taylor joining us, which is really super exciting. He's got an awesome history in general, really. You've done so many things. So we're excited to chat about some of that today. Before we get going, how's your week been, everybody?
My week has been pretty boring. Not a whole lot of much going on with me. Doing my, normal PT stuff, making some progress on the knee. So, super happy about that. But, just a pretty easy week for me so far.
I didn't count, but I saw some of your Instagram footage, and you had a lot of plates on the bar for a dude that just had his knee redone.
That was last week, actually.
I'm concerned, honestly.
We're making progress, though.
Sweet. Blake,
it's been a good week. It's been a little chaotic. We're doing the Empire Classic this weekend. We've got 19 athletes, so it's a lot of people to get organized, right? Yeah. And then we just kicked off a 24-hour model at the gym. So learning curves and growing pains along with that. It's going to be a really good thing, but a lot of business work.
Nice. So you get to come in now, and there's a whole bowl of chalk everywhere.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and barbells and places, and you're like, what even happened here?
Yeah, there's a lot more cleanup in the morning now.
Yeah, sweet. Well, I mean, that sounds great, and that's a lot of athletes to be managing, and you're also competing at the same time.
Yep. It'll be a fun run.
Well, I'll be there, so I'll be looking forward to seeing all that. So, yeah, super exciting. Yeah. I flew back in on Wednesday. My flights were all delayed. I didn't get home till 3 a.m. Started training clients at 5 a.m. It was a fun time. So I think I've had like 10 hours of sleep in a week.
Yeah, Connie had a much bigger week than the both of us, I'm sure, because she did something really cool.
What'd you get
at her
into?
last powerlifting meet.
I just won best lifter at the biggest women's powerlifting meet in the nation. I took it by storm. I don't know what the final tally was, but by the time I hit actually third bench, they were on the mic, and the guy running the mic, he was like, if she gets this third bench, she's running away with first. And by the time we hit the second deadlift, I was like, oh, what do I do for third? And my coach was like, you can do whatever you want. You don't have to get it. You don't. He's like, you quit right now. It doesn't matter. And so, that was something I never thought honestly would happen. And I actually feel emotional about it still, because what a crazy thing.
It was a really big deal.
That's really cool.
Yeah. It was. I mean, the whole thing was emotional. It was the last one they were ever going to do. It's been a 14-year run of one of the biggest meets in female powerlifting. It's run by Laura Phelps, very well known. The biggest, baddest lifters in the nation there. I mean, to watch is just breathtaking in and of itself. And the flight before me, there was a lady that was just totally kicking ass. And I brought 100, this is kind of hilarious, but I brought a bag of 100 trolls, like the 80s style ones, for good luck, man. Those things are good luck. Yeah. And I gave this lady one of the trolls, and she's like, oh my God, this is going to change my day. And I shit you not. It was like every lift that she was doing, I was watching, because the end of her flight was like right before mine started. Mm. And this lady was kicking some ass. Her name's Gina Murphy, I believe. And we were all excited about it. And her third deadlift, she got it, and she came rolling off the platform, and her boyfriend were just crying. Oh my God. And you're like, I know that feel. Like, I know it. And just seeing that, the amount of work and passion and stuff that goes into that, and watching it go down. My coach and I were both sitting there. So then we're like already, tearing up, and we're trying to finish the meet out, and the whole thing was a very powerful experience, let's put it that way. So yeah.
Cool.
Anyway, it was epic.
Well, we were all super proud. I mean, it made me emotional watching that moment for you when you got to kind of celebrate yourself a little bit, and it was just everybody here in Spokane and in the North Idaho area is just super proud of you and what you were able to achieve. So.
I appreciate that. It's funny because mentally I'm like probably the hardest person on myself. We all are. I've heard you're like, and I always feel like I'm so not ready. And then it's like I have to, even minutes up to stepping on the platform, I'm like, okay, now you mentally got to get your shit together. I start like having this pep talk with myself, like, you're just one lift at a time, just your opener. Like, I have to coach myself through the whole damn thing. And I'm like, then all of a sudden, finally, after the whole prep is over, the words of affirmation begin. Like, you're a badass. You can do this. And it's like, I don't even believe it until I put that bar on my back. And even then, there's some question, you know. But yeah, the whole day, I didn't actually end up PRing. I did PR. I PR'd on my bench, which has been a 3-year dry spell. That was great. And my deadlift, I ended up pulling a 400-pound deadlift. It didn't count, but it was the best lift of the meet for me. I'd never in my life figured I would pull 400 pounds after all the hip stuff. And my coach said in 25 years of powerlifting, he has never heard a full crowd chanting someone's name the way they... And so I couldn't even hear him. He's trying to set me up on the bar, and I'm looking at him. You can see me kind of look in the video, and I'm like, am I right where I should be? You know, and yeah, it was a crazy experience. So anyway, I will be reliving that one for a long time.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. So anyway, now it's about Blake, though. Blake, I was looking over your stuff. I've known you from a couple years because I'm always at Empire Classic. But I was looking over your stuff and I was like, this guy has way more. I didn't realize you were into bodybuilding and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. So, first of all, who are you?
My name's Blake Taylor. I'm the owner of North Idaho Athletic Club over in Moscow, Idaho. Major passion for strongman. I can't wait to see how far we can take this, what we can build with it. But the foundation's been in athletics my whole life. Basketball was my first athletic outlet. I was homeschooled up until high school, and so basketball was kind of my one social outlet in this whole thing. And just the nature of my size, I think it was pretty good with basketball, and that carried on to the collegiate level. It was a lot of fun to play, but once we got to the next level, I don't think I had the same passion for it that a lot of other people did. And that's what drove people a little farther. So after some gut check moments, I thought that I was taking somebody else's place that deserved it and stepped away. But the one thing that I did get from it was I just fell in love with the weight training. You know, it was to fight at that level, to see the improvement on it. You know, we'd still do morning conditioning, skill work, practice in the evening. I'd still find my way to the weight room in the evening. It filled my soul. So after I stepped away from basketball, I just fell into that a lot more. I continued into the military, and I met a buddy in there, and he was one of my first gym partners, and we were like, we should open a gym one day, right? Like, that's the dream. So we made our way through the military, and after I was out, I kind of knew what I wanted to do with life. I had no idea how I was going to get there, the ramp up to it, but it's just something I kind of told myself almost as an affirmation, like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to own a gym one day. So after the military, I went to WSU and studied sports science and psychology. I met my wife just before graduating. She had just graduated. She challenged me to a gym date. She was, so we had that first kickoff, and I'm like, this is what I want to do. And she's like, I love it. I want to run this with you, right? So we fell in love hard and fast, and she wanted to jump in on the dream. We became personal trainers at the same time. I remember like the first days just kind of studying for the NASM together and stuff like that. I kicked off the PT career there, and it was just a great way to continue to explore and help grow other people in this. You had mentioned the bodybuilding side. I guess that came just a little bit prior to that, right after the military. It was kind of my first decision to go full send into something in strength athletics, right? The mental change, the dedication to nutrition to get there, especially when it comes to bodybuilding, and just the motivation. And I fell in love with it. That first time stepping on stage with years of hard work and preparation, getting to showcase what I've done and to be cheered on for it, I fell in love. And I continued to chase that, probably a little too aggressively. Bodybuilding competitions, they can be pretty brutal on the body, right? And I didn't give myself enough time to grow, rest, recover. And bodybuilding is a fantastic sport. It did a lot for me. I think it does a lot for other people, but it has some of its negative traits, and those hit me pretty hard. So after a while, I stepped away from bodybuilding, and I was basically a bodybuilder that wasn't bodybuilding, right? Like I loved to lift. I loved personal training. I wanted to help people in that way. I knew that I wanted to own a gym, but I didn't have any strong personal direction in that. And so personal training, we were offered the gym, and we saved up to do that. About a little after a year into owning the gym, I had a buddy that worked for me, Justin Barker, and he said, I'd really like to start a strongman class here. This is something that I like, that I'm passionate about. I'm like, all right, dude, like, what do you need? So he said, sandbags and axle bars. Let's get it started. That'll be the foundation. I'll run it. I'm like, cool. And, so we were developing a program together with no background experience in it, right? So the blind leading the blind a little bit, but it was so much fun. I just remember the beginning, like watching, how do you pick up the sandbag, and then doing it, and then commenting on each other doing that, watching videos. How do we progress and do this? How can we take this to the next class and try to teach somebody else how to do it? But the puzzle aspect to it enthralled me. It was great. And there was a change in strength for me that hopefully some other people can catch with this that I didn't know. I knew that I was strong, but bodybuilding and powerlifting seem to be the main aspects in the gym, right? And so you're either big as a bodybuilder or you're strong and you're big three, and these are the measures of strength. Strongman has dynamic strength, which isn't expressed as much, and this is something I actually excelled in. My static strength is what I need to improve to be better at strongman. But I was always measuring my squat, bench, deadlift against other people and thinking like, okay, I'm strong, but I'm not strong enough to get to that level. All of a sudden you start doing some sandbag work and all these functional movements with a little bit of explosiveness to it. Can you pick something up and can you carry it? How much grit do you have, right? And then I was learning like, wow, okay, I'm actually pretty talented in some of these areas, right? It's not all how much can you deadlift. So the program kind of built off of that, and the blind leading the blind for a little while, but we learned a little bit more. And it was about a year and a half into kind of quasi training this. And I'm like, okay, like let's do a competition. This could be fun. So I think it was 2023. It was the War of Strength, a hardcore barbell. And I went and competed in the open heavyweight. I took third. But boy, did I have fun. It was so cool. I found this passion for competing, in high school, it's easy to compete your own sports teams. It's there for you. As an adult, it's a little harder to get into, right? And so all of a sudden I was competing again, and I was pushing myself to the limit, and I was in various disciplines of strength as well, right? I didn't do great on the deadlift, but stone to shoulder, I smoked it, these carry events, and just the variety of stuff that you get to get into with strongman. I fell in love with it on the spot, and I was like, all right, cool. I finally found my direction and path on this for a little while. I wasn't aimlessly working out. So I ran with it. When's the next competition? What can we do? Hey, let's grab some friends and do this. This is fun, right? We had a very small crew in the strongman class. Everybody loved what we were doing, but all right, let's take a couple people to the next competition. And the next comp, I think we brought like 3 or 4 of us out there, and all of a sudden we're doing this as a team, and everybody's pushing each other and helping coach a little bit, and it just continued to grow. It was fantastic. And the class has grown since. The number of competitors has grown since. You've been with me for every Empire Classic.
I was going to say, I think I have seen every one of yours from Empire. Yeah.
So the first one we had 4 of us. The next one we brought 11, and that was last year. And I was like, this is crazy. I go to another gym and they're bringing 11. And I'm like, that's pretty cool. I didn't know that this was that rare, right? And then to bring 19 this year, and I think a solid group of 19 too. I think we're going to place pretty well.
That's like a majority of the competitors.
It's 25%.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute. That's like a pretty good chunk of people that, so that's really cool.
Yeah. So it's blown up. After last year's Empire, I was like, okay, like at the beginning of the year, I said that I wanted to fully commit to strongman. Like this is what I want to do. I had been chasing other passions, long bike rides, beast Spartan races, just other aspects that didn't necessarily align for fully getting into this, right? Like I needed to gain some weight. You can't do that when running such long distances. And it's okay. I'm going to go prove that I can win the Empire Classic. The first year, it was two of us. So it was a nice victory, but it didn't feel as...
That was the year you and Chris did it, right?
Yeah. Awesome. And then the next year, I think it was a class of 16, right? I mean, it was huge. Andy was stoked to have that many in the super heavyweight division.
Yeah.
It was super cool. So I was like, all right, if I can beat 16 athletes, like, I feel like I'm on the right track. So I won. It was awesome. And then I was like, okay, we have such a following here. It can no longer be the blind leading the blind, right? Like I got to learn how to coach in this. I felt like a bodybuilder that was doing strongman. I never felt like a strongman. So I hired Zach McCarley as a coach, and what a fantastic human being.
Yeah.
And such a knowledgeable coach. And I told him at the beginning, I was like, look, I want to take this thing as far as I can. This is what I want to do. But more than that, we're developing such a community here. I need to learn how to coach also. I need to study your programming. Why do you do what you do? How can I translate this to other athletes, right? Like I might ask you some questions on like, well, I've got this athlete that's got this different type of body type and they're doing this. How can I help? So I worked with him for 6 months and what a learning experience. I got a lot out of it. I learned, bodybuilding, you train muscle groups, right? In strongman, you train movement patterns. And that's to say you might train legs 3 days that week. Whereas bodybuilding, let's tear it up once or twice a week and leave it alone to recover. So we were able to bring that into our classes. We hold it 3 days a week. And so starting to bring in individualized programming into the classes. Now we've got such a competing team that it's fun. We find a competition, we build up a 10 to 12 week training period for it, and the class is kind of programmed on that, and then we'll move on to the next one, which gives the variety of events that Strongman has. It's really fun to do that. Normally we have a new competition, let's buy some new piece of equipment, learn how to train with that a little bit. But that's kind of been the ramp up with that. After working with Zach and winning the Empire, having that dedication to this is what I'm going to do, Ugly Sweater Classic in December. Zach Price was with me the entire time. That was amazing.
The entire thing. It was really cool. It was really fun for me to watch.
Thank you. Yeah.
It made it really exciting.
And I had you right there with me the whole time. That was very motivating. Thank you for that. But I went into this and I'm like, okay, this is the first step into the Pro-Am. These are some big boys. There was 14 of us there. I was like, if I can take 7th, that's middle of the pack, that'll be a first place to me. Like this is the goal for me. I'm watching these guys on Instagram. I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I can do this.
Naughty watching your competitors
all the time.
Instagram.
No.
Bad.
We all do it though.
I do not. No.
Oh wow. So we went out there and the first event was the overhead. I think it was 325 clean and press away. I'd done it for 5 in prep, but 6 weeks leading up to that, I had some shoulder stuff. So for 6 weeks, I didn't do any overhead work. And I was like, maybe we can get through the first one without tearing anything. That would be cool.
That was the probably the most fun for me to watch was the clean and press for you, because you just knowing that was probably the first time you've done that in competition, the technicality that you had developed in the clean and jerk. I mean, your jerks overhead were beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Super amazing to watch.
Thank you. That was, again, dynamic strength, being able to bring in some leg drive to an overhead where beforehand I was just measuring off of how much can you strict press. Where you throw some legs into the equation, learning how to implement a good jerk movement. Like, it was fun.
Yeah, especially for, when you have reps like that, you can get so much more out of the jerk, when you start to lose that overhead drive just from the shoulders alone. I mean, then you're kind of relying just on the legs and hips to start pushing that bar overhead, and when you start to get tired, then that's where you can kind of beat the other competitors and get a couple more reps squeaked out. So. Yeah,
and it went good. I think I tied for first on that one. And it was a good showing. After that was the deadlift event. Man, I need to work on my static strength to get to that next level. So that's kind of my focus for all of this year. And I took last in it. I kind of expected to take last in it. I didn't do some of the work. I could have gotten a deadlift suit. Statically, I'm just not there yet. It's something that's developing. So I took the L. I went for a personal PR on that. I kind of knew that this wasn't going to be the event for me. So let's get what I can personally out of it.
I mean, I'd like to add a piece into this, and that's that for those that are just listening in their car, Blake is 47 feet tall. So I think you should be nice to yourself and not... I mean, you've got to lift the deadlift off the floor a very long way. Actually, it's probably over my head at that point. So,
it's a good ways
I mean,
up,
your leverages are not... Just like Zach's are not grip, yours may not be deadlift. You do the best you can with it, but that's the beauty of strongman anyways, is because it levels the playing field for all of you guys. I mean, powerlifting does too, right? You got 3 completely different movements, but it levels the playing field so that we all have advantages in one or another, and that's the person that can best manage those variables in all of it is the person that becomes champion. So just wanted to add that there.
No, so true. And it's always good to have a working point. And like you said, I'm going to be great at everyone.
Yeah.
I have sandbag toss for that. So,
we're going to talk about that at some point too.
We'll get there. After that, what did we have? Husafell carry. I was so excited about this event. Like, they set it at 410, the Husafell stone weight. You get to do a circle around the sheep's pen. I'm like, this is a dream of mine to do in real life, to fly over there and do it. Now I get to do it in competition at that weight. And I think the sheep's pen over there is 110 foot, right? We had a 70-foot lane here.
It's a pretty decent size.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, if I can do a lap and a half, that would be the actual sheep's pen over in Iceland Fort, and that's the goal. Yeah. And that was a fun one for me. I love gritty exercises, right? Like, how deep can you dig and get out? And so I got the pick on that. But I lost my vision like twice during that. And, to be able to coach myself to breathe through it, to continue to dig deeper, push through the grit that I love, it was just so present there. I got my first lap. I got my started to lose it a little bit. Zach in my ear, like, go, go, go. I'm like, yeah, I got you, dude. So we'll go
I think I lost my voice. I was yelling at you so hard.
Well, it came through, man. It did. And I got my lap and a half. I got 2 in, and then it's just how far can you take it. The bag starts to go, you got limited time. Let's get the feet moving as quick as possible. And I finished at 161 foot. So I was, for the event that I was most excited for, I did very well at. I was pretty happy with that. But still, my mindset was, if you can take middle of the pack. And after that, I did win that event. Jeff came up and he's like, dude, you're in 3rd place right now. Like, you have a shot at this. And I'm like, we're past the deadlift event and I've got a shot. This is pretty cool, right? So then we went into the next event, which was bag to shoulder. And like I said, strongman at Nyack started with sandbags and axle bars, and that's all we had for a long time. Yeah. So Nyack is really good with sandbags. And bag to shoulder is probably my favorite strongman event. Do you have the static strength to get it off of the floor? Do you have the dynamic strength to move it up your body? We're bringing it to the shoulder, so something that's very functional for life. Can you walk with it afterwards? So one of my favorite events, it was a 330, a 380, and like a 400 plus bag. I wasn't going for that one. My best was a 1 rep with 350 before then. But it was the long Cerberus bags, which are just so hard to get past your shoes.
Yeah, way tougher to get around and articulate it up to your shoulder, right? Because you kind of have to have a strategy about turning it when you get to the top.
And I go for a vertical pick too. Because my static strength's a little weaker, to go for such a wide pick down low puts me in more of a deadlifty position. Yep. So the vertical pick, it's a little easier for me to get off the ground. The downside with that is if the bag's long, you have to get this thing over your knees to lap it. So the fact that he weighed these things down with buckshot and had a smaller bag, that was a huge advantage. Ended up getting 3 with a 380 bag. Unbelievable PR for me. Enough time on the clock to run back to the 330, get a single. I'm not positive. I don't think anybody got 2 reps with a 380 bag. So maybe one person.
I can't remember off the top of my head.
But I took it by a good margin. I felt very good and accomplished with that. I knew that gave me the placing that I needed, and then the last one was sandbag toss, which is my best event.
You're as tall as the...
Yeah, right. I mean, it's a 9-foot release. It's a little unfair, but the leverage difference that I get on it. And so with that going into it, I think it was 40, 50, 60, 70. I've done 70 pretty consistently in practice, and I knew not a lot of people could, so it's just get to that last bag, do it smoothly. I took second on the event, which was fine. It still gave me the points that I needed. I just needed to get it over. And
who ended up beating you on that event?
What's his name? He's off on the west side. He's a taller gentleman as well. I think he's competing in the Masters class at Empire this weekend. Something Hill, Noah Hill, or something like that. Anyways, phenomenal athlete too. He podiumed with me, well deserved. Yeah. But I was going for consistency rather than time. I just didn't want to biff it. Right, it was mine to lose. And yeah, much to my surprise, I got this win at the Pro-Am division. It was unreal, absolutely. To catch pro status and USS. To have a little financial income for the first time with it. That was a game changer too.
Yeah. It's really good prize money at that show that Jeff put up.
It's phenomenal. Yeah. I'm like, okay, this actually pays for 2026 for strongman for me, right?
Score.
All of a sudden this isn't a financial drain, but something that can sustain itself. And now I'm looking at competitions. After that, I opened up a strongman bank account for NIAC. So financial income that I can get at competitions, coaching that I'll do, our competition, any income based off of that can then get filtered right back into the athletes in the program itself. We can continue to buy equipment, sponsor athletes for more competitions, pay for competitions for myself. So this thing is all of a sudden becoming very self-sustaining, which is how we can continue to grow it.
Yeah, something we talked about last week on the episode was, you know, building financially for the sport that you're competing in.
Watched that for the second time on the way up,
And hilariously, I think we talked about, I was like, I had never won any money before. Zach's like, I won this, and then I just won some money, so now we're... I bought chickens with it and blew it, but, you know, it was good. So, I bought our team some dinner. I thought that was great.
That's cool.
But... do you have questions? Because I have a lot.
I just have something I want to add on about the sandbag toss event. So I was standing there watching Blake, and like you were saying, it was a 45 to start. So what was it, over 15?
15 foot,
So there's the 15-foot beam that you got to throw it over, and we were in a warehouse for that event, and I watched Blake take the bag, throw it. He threw it so high that it went all the way up into the top of the ceiling of this warehouse, which had to be at least 30 feet tall. And it got stuck on the sprinkler pipe at the top. And I just was, Blake obviously doesn't see it because he was, you know, moving and going with the sandbag.
I hope so. Yeah.
It was crazy. I've never seen anybody throw a bag that high. And it just sat there for a minute. I was like, you know, thinking, how are we even going to get this thing down? Because luckily it dropped down off of that. But that was the most insane thing I've ever seen. And I mean, it really, for me, kind of hammered it in that you are, if I'm being honest, one of the best bag throwers in the country, if not the world.
Thank you.
Because at America's Strongest Man this year, we had a max bag toss over 15. And it ended at, I think, 75 with Nick Gardione. And I took second, you know, tied second with a bunch of people at 72 pounds. So to be able to have a full sandbag ladder where you're throwing it over 15 and you ended on the 70-pound, finishing it and throwing it with ease. I mean, it really, for me, just made me realize that you are definitely one of the best sandbag throwers around. On top of some other really amazing, you know, feats of strength that you were able to do, the Husafell being another one. And that was a really exciting, you know, fun one for me to watch and kind of be behind you because I was following everybody else around. And like you were saying, it's one of those, you know, feats of strength where it's gritty. You got to grind it out. It kind of comes down more to, you know, how far mentally you're able to push. And watching you with that bag, those Cerberus Husafell bags are not easy to pick.
No.
I mean, in comparison, you know, another one that I can compare to is at America's Strongest Man, we had kind of a similar thing with a lap, but I think it was a 405 metal Husafell. And so the metal is much easier to get around and grab because you kind of have some picking points on it, whereas the sandbag is much larger and looser. So you really have to, really get into that thing. And being a lengthier guy, I'm sure that helps. But
the arm length for sure. I mean, it's a lot of wrap and tuck, right? You're not grabbing anything.
No, but I mean, that was also just insane to watch. I mean, because to me, that's what really makes a great strongman competitor is somebody, we all have our strengths and weaknesses. For the most part, when we get to an elite level, which you're working towards, everybody is really similar in their strengths, but it really comes down to those moments where you have to, it sucks and you have to embrace the suck. And you did a really good job of that at that show. And I think that's what truly won you the show. So.
Yeah. Grit's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So and some people have it, some people don't. So
yeah. I am very interested in your group training stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because I think it's awesome. Like, what a great model. I would love to we'll talk about this. But I'm going to make an assumption that most of these people that are beginning with you are starting from very scratch.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that can be very interesting to manage in and of itself, because depending on if you get people with an athletic background, then it's easier to teach people how to move. But I feel as though the strength sports tend to also bring in those people that are the most awkward misfit people ever.
Yeah.
That's not I'm not saying that in a bad way, but what I'm saying is that is a large amount of people for a single man to be trying to wrangle and also pursue his own athletic goals. So bless you.
Thank you.
That's what I'm saying. What are some challenges you have faced with that?
So last weekend we had our strongman class, and there's 24 people in there. This is a lot of people. Saturdays typically go anywhere from 17 to 25 people, right? So it was a challenge at first, but I think this is one of our big strengths now. We have those that have just been competing with us for a while. And they will also teach our younger or newer competitors, right? And so while I can get eyes on everybody, then we have the weight classes, and they can help those in their individual weight class. And it's really cool, and it helps them as athletes as well to reinforce what they're doing. One of my proud moments at the Ugly Sweater was we're getting ready for bag to shoulder, right? And he had made I think it was like a 250 sandbag and filled it with fluff, so it was 150.
Yeah.
And this is for some of the women. And so now it's just this obnoxiously big sandbag that people don't know how to use. And I turned my head, and my athletes are teaching some of the other athletes how to manipulate this bag, right? The same thing with the Husafell. Strongman has a lot of equipment. Not everybody has access to it. So warming up, my athletes are instructing the other athletes on, no, this is how you're going to pick this bag, right? And everybody does well for it. So it translates when we're running this class as well. I can hit some of the finer points, but then I can also let some of our athletes coach other athletes, and it makes it work a lot better.
See, I really love this because in strength sports, you get a lot of people that have egos, major ego problems. And if you were to talk to somebody else, or somebody else was going to try to say something to their athlete, there's plenty of people out there that would be like pissed off, I guess, for lack of better terms, right? I have always said this over and over again. So I used to do bodybuilding shows also. I've done 5 of them. I'm sure we could have a great conversation about all of this.
Yeah.
Anyway, I had a coach that at one point I said, hey, I'm going to go over to this posing class. I want to check it out. She's like, why would you do that? You have an IFBB pro coach and she knows how to pose. I was like, because people say things differently. And it may be the same thing ultimately, but it was just conveyed in a different way. Doesn't mean that you weren't good at what you were doing. It just means somebody's perception of something is different. So I think that that's amazing that you are teaching people to teach. And honestly, whether it's right or wrong, I mean, we see a lot of shit float around at the gym, but it gives you a way to think of things differently, right? So I love that that's something that your people are doing. And I can see that I have the misfits at the fitness center, and it's hard to wrangle. It's like some days it's 6 or 7, and that's why I was like, 24, I don't know how. Like, we've got people that are getting better and they're being able to help each other, and it is turning into that. But there's some days when I'm trying to focus on my own training and I'm like, dear Lord in heaven, please, I got to, I need a minute,
it
right?
really is,
like, so anyway, I think that's an amazing culture that you are growing, where people want to teach, and they want to teach the people they're competing against. Like, how, I mean, I think it's amazing.
And there's so many different body types, which, like you said earlier, gives advantages and disadvantages to strongman. So to have so many other body types doing some movements that are by any means necessary, it really helps to have another body type coach somebody, right? I'm 6'7". It doesn't always help me to have somebody, or it might not be best for me to coach somebody who's 5'4"
Yes.
to perform the same movement. But our other athletes are, and they have great work on it.
Yeah, I mean, the greatest example would be a guy your height versus my height, something like loading stones. You're going to load a stone differently than I do. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have a little bit more extension and do the movement differently. So, having other like-minded people that can teach you properly and work with you properly. I also just want to highlight too, kind of reemphasize what you were saying is, people often forget how important the community is. And that's something that we've always kind of struggled to have here in Spokane. And being somebody that's been in the sport for a long time, going to competitions, strongman and powerlifting has always been kind of more an individual sport where you're kind of showing up, representing yourself, and oftentimes you kind of feel like a deer, in the headlights, not knowing what's going on, especially in the beginning, not knowing the people that you're competing against, and being able to show up at the show, the Ugly Sweater, and see the giant crew that you brought, not only just seeing all you guys working together and helping each other, but having fun too. I mean,
yeah.
How cool is that for you when you get to show up to a show and you have, basically this big family with you that is all supporting each other and, excited to be there. I know for me, being a spectator, when I go, the only other gym I can think of that really has representation like that is Dungeon in Seattle. So, that's what I really want to highlight for you is what you're doing for the community in North Idaho. And, how is that changing maybe people's lives over there right now?
It's a major passion for me. Like you said, it's to come in as a team and have that community and help and grow others, inviting people from other gyms to just come grow with us, right? I have two goals in strongman. One is to take it as far as I can, however far that will be. But second is I want to be that foundation in a community that can help grow that, right? I might not be able to make a world's strongest man, but I would like to have a facility in a community that might be able to get somebody else there, Dungeon strength, what an inspiration,
Jealous.
And I would like to aspire to be something like that one day. And the culture and the community there for it's fantastic. I joke a lot that people will come to our classes for strongman, but they will stay for the community. Mm-hmm. Everybody showing up to push themselves. Everybody knows what the other person is going through to get through these events. And it just seems to be a really healthy, good outlet in athletics that some other aspects might not be able to have as much, right? And I would really like to get that out there a little bit more.
Yeah, like Connie was saying earlier, a lot of especially when I first started in powerlifting and strongman, it was kind of this almost outcast mentality where people are getting into the sport because they don't feel like they belong anywhere else. And it's, strongman and powerlifting and any strength-related sport really is able to help give somebody a foundation and give somebody something to work towards. But it's always been really difficult, at least for me, it was always really intimidating too. The idea of going to a show, competing, not, knowing what I'm capable of. And then when you have a crew of other people like you guys have, you have all of the support, and I'm sure it's much less intimidating than for those people that are wanting to get into the sport and then are wanting to learn about the sport and grow in the sport. So
I think you're exactly right for it. Having that community going into something, having other athletes, coaches kind of hold your hand through that first competition and really get you out there, and being able to celebrate together afterwards. Yeah, I think it does a lot.
Yeah, I'm jealous because that's something that it's honestly been discouraging for me as a strength athlete that I can't seem to get that developed in this area because I've trained all over the country with these incredible crews, and the passion that these people have when they're together is something you cannot explain to anybody that doesn't do it. So, yeah, it's amazing. I'm sure I'm ready to move down to Blake's and
Visit anytime, please.
it's only an hour. I've been driving 3 hours to train, so
we'll definitely have to take some trips over there.
I know, yeah. So I think Zach has some questions for you.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of covered quite a bit there, honestly.
Oh, good.
I do want to take a minute to highlight some of your accomplishments. So some of the things that you sent me for your accomplishments are you're coaching 18 athletes to competition. So on average, you're having about 18 athletes show up, like we talked about. That's so cool. You've podiumed at 6 out of 7 competitions with 4 wins. That's pretty damn good. You won the Ugly Sweater, winning your USC or USS Pro card. Next stop is the Strongman Corp.
That
Pro
is the
card,
next
right?
goal.
75-pound sandbag. Have you ever maxed your sandbag?
I have not. We have this really interesting aspect at our gym. This was not a strongman gym to begin with. Actually, 25 years ago, it was a JCPenney's. So we work around some stuff. One of the things is I have to throw over 15 foot. Our ceilings are 16 foot tall. We recently put a bunch of OSB board on the ceiling because of all the holes that were going on there. But what this has allowed me to do is form a lot more accuracy in my throws, right? You can't just yeet it every time. And to train with heavy enough weight that I'm not bonking the ceiling every single time. I have not attempted an 80 bag at 15 foot. But I would like to.
We're going to have to change that.
I was like, the fitness center. We got some stuff there.
That's what I was about to say. Is we're going to have to have you come out, and it'd just be so cool to test you and see what you can throw over a 15-foot height. Because I don't know. I think Half Thor has the world record right now.
It's pretty monstrous.
It's pretty monstrous. It's up there. But you being as tall as you are, people like you were saying, sandbag throwing is not just about the power over the height, but also the trajectory and making sure that you're lined up and releasing at the right time and trajectory for it to travel over that properly. So you've also done the 325 clean and press for 5 reps, which I got to watch, and you did beautifully on those clean and jerks. 380 sandbag to shoulder, 410 Husafel. Like I said, that's just bonkers. That Husafel bag is that Husafel bag is. It sits in the fitness center because I bought it for the Arnold's 2 years ago, and that thing is just going to sit there for a while because it is so difficult.
We have a 350 at my gym, and we're just ratchet strapping like a 60-pound dumbbell to it to try and get used to comp weight.
You've done a 460 axle bar deadlift double overhand. So let's talk about that a little bit. You do not only the strongman competitions, but you've been traveling and doing some really cool grip competitions as well.
It turns out I'm pretty good at grip. We'll go back a little bit. My first time at the Empire Classic, I was not competing. I was helping somebody for bodybuilding get there, but they're in the same areas. And the whole time, I cannot take my eyes off strongman over here. Right? I found a passion for it. But Andy had a grip competition set up over there, and I blasted it out of the water pretty good. He invited me to arm lifting after that, and that was kind of my introduction to the whole thing.
That's how he baits you.
Yeah, honestly, go to Andy's for strongman, leave doing arm lifting.
Yeah, I love going to their place. Like, it's been unfortunate that I have been in severe training cycles for so long because I can't, but I'm going to go now. Anyway, continue on.
No, it's fun. So I did it just to do it for a little bit, but then I did the World Series online. I did fairly good. I tanked one of the ones due to poor form, which I've fixed, so I'm excited to do it better this year. But it did give me an invitation to the Olympia to do it, and I took second place, which is pretty good for my first arm lifting competition.
Awesome,
and then I started training it. Beforehand, it was just unknowingly train it, I suppose, right? Just do deadlifts until you can't hold on to it anymore, and then add straps, stuff like that, but never specifically training grip strength. So now I've actually been training it. And then I did the Arnold's Classic not too long ago. I took 5th. I wish I'd done a little bit better, but comps go that way.
And if my flight would have gotten there on time, I'm so mad I missed that, because that was one of the one things I was looking forward to being a spectator, is getting to watch you do that this year. And it's always hard when we're competing at the same shows, right? Because I'm either competing and you're competing at a different spot, or, so maybe one of these days I'll get to come and watch. But I mean, is the grip arm lifting stuff something that you want to keep pursuing as you're climbing the ranks of strongman?
Ricardo might not like this. I would like to fully devote myself to strongman. I will still be training grip along the way. I'll do the online World Series, but I need to put finances and attention towards strongman while it's still there. I'm 34 years old, and world's strongest men guys are like 28 to 30, right? I'm starting the game a little bit later, and I would like to milk this as much as I can. Interesting thing about arm lifting is tendon strength is such a determinant in this, not just muscular strength. And that just takes time and years to develop. So arm lifting will definitely be there for me after strongman. And I'll still be doing it during strongman, but I don't know that I'll be traveling for it as much. And I will be getting stronger so that when I do come out, there will be some firsts.
Well, the cool thing for you is something that I struggle with, obviously, is my grip. And that's kind of kept me out of some of the bigger shows, like World Strongest Man.
Let's train together, brother.
I was just thinking that. I was like,
Yeah. We'll make this happen.
Just you having that base of grip strength, though, when you, like you said, work towards those static lifts that you need a little bit more work on your deadlift, your squat, I mean, you have every other arsenal covered. So, I mean, that's a huge strength to have in the back of your pocket for when you go to shows that have, 400-pound farmers per hand or an 800-pound frame plus, I mean, I don't think you're going to struggle with those at all. So,
well, thank you. I watch those events. I'm like, I would really struggle picking that up, but I think I could hold on to it for days. So, we'll work on the static strength and we'll get there.
Yeah, man. I'm excited for it.
Well, I want to dive into something that I don't think's on Zach's radar, but the psychology portion of your education, because I'm very, very into that stuff. I'm like, and I think Zach is too.
Yeah, for sure.
We've never talked about this before, so we're just now talking about it over the podcast. But we're both very introspective people, and we dig deep into the psychology, not just our own, but other people and how things are worded. And so what part of your education do you feel like part of that, even though, because you have formal education there, do you feel like that has paid off in your ability to coach people? What are things that you think? I want to hear what's going on inside of your head when you're working with people.
Neurodivergent and bipolar. So it was a working point for me. I mean, I think neurodivergence are really interested in psychology because how do other people think, right? Yeah. So with that is, how can I get in the head of somebody else? And in training, that's such a fantastic tool. What will work for this person that won't work for this person? This person really needs encouragement. This person needs a kick in the ass. This person needs something that is a measured goal that they can attain every single time. So in personal training, leading into coaching, it's been highly valuable. Absolutely. I continued on with NASM a little bit, got some behavioral change specialty, and I think it all works together.
Yeah. It's just interesting because what you could say, and I think this is the problem with the online space and how and coaching in general, because there's not enough coaches out there that are flexible for what people's needs are mentally. Like, they might be the best programmer in the world. They might be the biggest nutritionist or the best brain mastermind when it comes to some of that stuff, but they don't know how to articulate it to their clients because, like, someone like you might be totally able to be pushed, and then somebody like Zach, which this isn't the case, but you know what I'm saying, may need a little more encouragement, right? And so we run into these coaching holes, essentially, where people don't learn their client. And I actually see, and I would love to hear your take on this, in many coaching situations, I'm not huge in the strongman end of things, but in many coaching situations, bodybuilding, regular weight loss coaching, things like that, there are actually coaches that give people dysfunctional patterns unbeknownst to them because of the way they word things to people. So psychology is a huge thing because you have to kind of learn your client and what you're working with and how they function and what makes them grow. And that's so different for everybody.
It is. I mean, you're right. I was joking with a friend about this earlier this week. It's funny. When I'm training clients, everybody's got something different, right? There's some clients that I will be like, it's okay. We don't have to do that. And then all of a sudden they're like, no, I want to do that. I have to do that now, right? And now it's their decision and they'll get more out of it. Whereas if otherwise I'm like, all right, we're going to the assault bike for cardio. They're like, oh, do we have to? And they're going to give this half-ass effort, but take it away from them. And now they need to do that. They'll give twice the amount of effort for it, right?
I love it.
There's other clients that... what you believe is what you can achieve so often, right? And so it's funny. There's you have some clients like, this weight is too heavy for me. I'll pull out the pin and I'll put it right back in the same slot, and then they perform 5-6 pull-ups, right? And then you show them that afterwards, and all of a sudden it begins to change what they think they can and can't do. So little things like that. I've got somebody I coach, and they just need to see the measured steps on how we're going to get there, right? They're absolutely capable of it, but let's show them the path and instruction that we're going to get to there. Other people, you need to baptism by fire. Just get in there and go do it, right? And that's how they'll perform best. So I would like to continue to develop myself as a coach. Going online with it, I'm not certain. I still have a lot more to learn, but there's such a human element to this that I think is missing in a lot of online coaching that I'm not sure if I want to dip into that world one day or not. So I'm very blessed that I have such a large team that I can do that human element of coaching with and work with people based off of what they need, not what I'm reading off of whatever document.
I love that. I do the online thing, and I very much wish I was doing the more in-person thing with people that want to perform, like, because I do mostly personal training, and most of those people don't want to perform. They want you to force them to perform. But then you get an athlete coming to you, or somebody that's interested in developing themselves, and they show up on time and they want to be there and they want to do the work in between. Game changer. Me, I love that stuff. I love watching how people move. I don't like the spreadsheet either. It's the nature of the beach sometimes.
It's necessary, yeah.
But I meet with people every couple of weeks, and we chat about how things went, how their head is, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I was just curious what kind of psychology background, and the neurodivergent thing very much makes sense because some of the best coaches I know. But the funny thing is depending on what realm you are in the neurodivergence, you have a tendency to not be emotional with people, which they expect. So even though you're analyzing things and articulating them very well and learning how people's buttons work and stuff, you may not, there's also the element where you may not be able to make that show on the outside, if that makes sense. So that's also difficult because somebody will tell me something horrific and I'm like, oh no. And I'm like, oh, I should probably figure out how to be more concerned because on the inside I'm like, oh God, that's terrible. Like, I feel so bad for you. And on the outside, it's like concrete.
Can we convey this more? Yeah, right.
So yeah, I was interested in that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been a fun run. A skill that I would like to continue to develop. And it was interesting what you were saying. You're a trainer too, right? And you have clients for personal training and you have athletes. And the psychology of getting somebody to want to work as a personal training client and the athlete that it's there for, and how can we facilitate that fire that they already have under them. Mm-hmm. Everybody's different. I love learning the individual. Personal training was the start, but I love owning a gym simply because I can do that at a larger scale now, right? I wouldn't have been able to develop the strongman program the way that it's been developed had I not owned the gym, right? I might have been able to do some smaller classes, but we've been able to develop this thing so much more. And then you got to remember to get back to the human element, because it's so easy to get lost in your office and be looking at numbers and what's going this way and where's the plan. And sometimes you just need to step out and chat with the members and see what they need.
Well, and that was going to be my next question is, like, you own a gym. How, like, what are some things that you've changed your mind about since you began that journey?
What a process.
Would you do it again?
Absolutely. Oh, in a heartbeat. Yeah. No, this is what I'm supposed to do. I don't ever want to work for anybody again. I love being my own boss. I have no business background. I'm a meathead that wanted to own a gym, and I'm a good self-learner. Given my homeschooling background, I can learn to do something my own. I don't necessarily need somebody to coach or walk me through there as much, but I had no experience in it, right? So there were some mistakes along the way, right? Good learning mistakes. It's interesting. So I purchased an existing gym, and with no business background, I adopted the former owner's business model, right? And it was a working business beforehand, so it absolutely worked. But then you try to throw your image on it a little bit. You can't make too many big changes too quickly, because then it's changing what all of these other members have come to expect and have, right? But you also need to steer the boat without rocking it too much. And it's a challenge. You know, we just switched to a 24-hour model at the gym, which for the gym success is what needed to happen, right? But it's a major change for some people to have now you got to scan in to get in the door, right? We will be open 24, but we'll be staffed less. So there's a little bit less of that human element up at the front. But you also have to know that as the owner of the business, like, this is the direction for this gym to continue to grow. If we want to bring in finance to improve the gym, if we want to be able to bring in more membership to continue to grow it that way. So it's a learning curve the whole way. Owning the gym too, there's trade skills that I don't have that I've had to learn along the way. I am so blessed to have some amazing people in our life and on our team that have helped us out and helped me along the way. NIAC has an amazing community. It's really, I think, the foundation of everything that we do. And for somebody that doesn't accept help well, I have been very blessed with a lot of help in my life to help make this thing happen. So it's been a journey. I'm still going to continue to learn. But I think we've done well so far.
I love that.
Yeah.
So if there was one thing you could get out to the strength community, what would it be? Like, is there a change you would like to see? Is there some kind of mindset adaptation? Like, are there things that you see being passed on that you don't care for or do care for? Like, I would love to get your take on some things that have been on your mind when you're in that element that you would like to see change.
Go find your community. Go find your gym culture. It's one of the things we try to harness at NIAC is franchise gyms are successful because of the financial backing that they have, but they have models in place, and I think it's taken away a lot from the culture that gyms very much used to have, and as a small business, we can still have. And then that's one of the reasons NIAC Strongman has been so successful, is because we've been able to lean and build on that community. So there's other people in there that want to do it. Just because you might be working out at a franchise gym and things are a little bit more regulated or doesn't have the specialty equipment, go find a workout partner. Always have been my best friend in life. This is how you continue to build that community and build everything up. There's other people doing what you're wanting to do. Get out there and go find them, and that's how you build the whole thing.
I love it.
That's a great point. I love that.
What do you got, Zach?
Oh, man. I covered so much there. I think that it was really interesting hearing you two talk about the mentality, because I'm a big believer that the mind is what carries the body, right? And so, a lot of the people that get into the sport of strongman to the sport of powerlifting are kind of actually most of the times coming from some type of darkness to overcome. And I guess branching into that, with the mindset, what is something that you feel mentally you have to overcome to become the best version of yourself in the sport going forward?
Oh, it's a deep question.
That's a really good question.
Yeah. Mentally, something that I have to overcome. I think there's some belief in self. 2025, I had to believe in myself to take that step, right? But that was not an easy thing to do, to verbally say, I'm going to fully commit to this, right? To take on the gym and actually follow through with this. I think that for everybody, there's a lot of negative self-talk. There's a lot of negative belief. And I think that's the reason the gym is so good. And what I would really like to get out there for my clients and everybody else is the gym is a place that you will go to for an hour or two, whatever time you're putting in, but you have made a decision to improve yourself. And that immediately cancels out that voice of, I'm not doing enough, I'm not progressing, I'm not whatever it happens to be, right? You go in and you add 5 pounds onto your bench press. This is a measured improvement that you're doing, right? And it translates to every other aspect in life. One of my favorite things in training clients, especially those that are having a harder time, is they start becoming consistent in the gym. And this thing that they thought that they couldn't do, now they're doing. And then they see incremental improvements, measured improvements, not something like, oh, I was good this day, but bad this day, right? And all of a sudden, they're seeing achievement, they're seeing change, and then they go home and they're like, oh, maybe I can do this project, right? They have more energy, and they're like, I'm going home, I'm spending more time with my kids, I'm more involved, right? I feel more confident, I'm doing whatever. So I think getting into the gym, finding that self-belief through doing, I think that'll take you out of that darkness. I know that lifting weights was a way for me to get out of the darkness, right? Can I push a little farther, beating that voice in my head that was saying, you're not enough, you can't do it, whatever the narrative happens to be. No, I'm going to do one more rep and I'm going to prove it, right? And that's where the grit comes in, right? It's how much do you want to be better than that voice in your head that's telling you no, and I want it. And I think other people do too, and this is the way to get there.
Yeah, you said it perfectly. I mean, it's an opportunity for us to overcome ourselves, right? And that's one of my favorite things to see is when people get into the sport or even just into strength training in general, is you get to see that change in their behavior, in the way that they're talking to themselves and motivating themselves. And that gets me into my next question for you is, who is it that inspires you? It could be somebody in strongman, it could be somebody outside of strongman. Who is your biggest inspiration in life?
You asked me that question. I had to think about it a lot on the way up. Yeah. I'm going to break it up into two parts. I think there's inspiration, and then who inspires you to do more, and then who do you want to be? I think these are things that you asked me, who's your hero? That's what a hero does. My inspiration, like many others, was Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah, the king, man. He has done it for so many people. It's incredible, right?
We talked about that on the first episode.
I saw that too. I was like, yeah, he's the guy, though, right?
It's always Arnold.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
like,
love that.
I remember I was like in the 4th grade and I'm walking through Safeway and we're in the magazine aisle and my dad points to a magazine and it's Arnold Schwarzenegger on the cover. And he's like, you see this guy? He's the biggest, strongest man in the world. And my dad was 6'4". He towered above most other men. So to see my dad, the big guy, say that this is the guy, right? I was like, oh, I want to be that one day. So, I mean, especially going into bodybuilding, I read Arnold Schwarzenegger's encyclopedia of bodybuilding like it was the Bible, you know? And so he's been such an inspiration to do everything that I've done leading in. As far as who I want to become, I'm going to steal somebody else's answer on this. I was watching some Instagram thing the other day on who's your hero. And the guy said it was who I'm going to be in 5 to 10 years from now.
Man.
And I would like to strive for the person that I would like to be in 5 to 10 years. Maybe I'm not that guy, but let's strive for the ideal person, and what I would like for myself. And so mentally picture that. Where do I want to be? Same way I told myself for 10 years I want to own a gym, and I had no idea how to get there, but it happens, and I'm going to do my best to get there.
Do you feel like you being able to sit down, I mean, was it something that you were writing out when you first, wanted to open a gym? Was it something that, how much of a believer are you in that what you mentally believe in you can achieve,
Oh, so much. Absolutely. Tell yourself time and time again, look in the mirror, start your day with affirmations, write it down. At 20 years old, I was with a buddy. We should open a gym. That would be cool, right? And I knew it was my path, but I had no idea how was I going to get there. But it just became what I said. What do you want to do when you grow up? I guess I was starting to grow up, but what do you want to do with your life? I want to own a gym. And so you start to say it. Now, I worked at a couple of different franchise gyms. Every time I'd go in, I'd say, hey, I would like to own a gym one day. So not only do I want a personal train, but could I shadow you? I would like to see the ins and the outs on how a gym runs. The last gym that I applied to as a personal trainer was North Idaho Athletic Club. And I told the former owner, Amy, I was like, hey, I'm not going to open a gym anywhere in your area. I'm not trying to step on your toes, but it is my dream to open a gym one day. I'd like to own one. I'd like to learn the ins and the outs. This is not a franchise gym. This is a homegrown small business that you've really created. I would like to learn how you've done this. And she waited 3 or 4 months, kind of vetted me out, made sure I wasn't crazy. And I didn't know she was looking to sell at the time. So it was just this narrative that I had continued to be putting out there until you finally tell the right person. And then opportunity arose. And if I had not been the person that was just like, I'm going to open a gym one day, this is what I want to do, I'd have just been a personal trainer there, But you tell the right person, opportunity arises. And boy, was I ready to take it on.
Yeah, it's something Connie and I talk about a lot, I think, is just the mental power.
What?
Well, just talking about, like, the mental power, what it takes, believing in yourself, like, believing in your goals. I mean,
it's
Connie,
hard.
right before your powerlifting meet, what was it you said? You said, was it on the interview or something you said to me? You said, I think I'm going to do okay at this next one. I just want to do, decently, place decently. And you went on and went to, win the whole thing. So.
Yeah, well, and so this is what I was cracking up about. You're like watching your competitors. I don't watch anything, and honestly, that meet had a different meaning to me because I had bombed out of it the prior year. So I actually wasn't planning on going back and revisiting that for a period of time because I had a pro invitational that I went to, and they were very close together, and I was like, oh yeah, I can't do that. And then they announced it was the last one that was ever going to happen. Well, guess what? Got to do that. Originally, it wasn't, my only plan was to go in and be around all these people that are incredible because, like I said, the atmosphere is something that you'll never see. I just wanted to go and not bomb out and be around all of these people that I really am inspired by, right? And then it gets put on my radar by one of my fellow competitors. She goes, hey, you and I are probably both going to be on the top for the best lifter. And I was like, actually, I didn't know that because I wasn't stalking open powerlifting. I wasn't looking at the roster. I have no idea who I'm even competing against.
That's wild.
Because I just planned on going in and working on myself, which has been something I have very much had to pay attention to my whole life. Like, I want to be better me, not be better for somebody else, right? So it was kind of funny because she put it on my radar. I told my coach, and the first thing he said was, we're not going to fucking worry about anybody else. And I was like, okay, well, I just wanted that on your radar because, But anyway, I still went into it. I knew that was a possibility, and things had gone well with my training in the previous cycle. There were some things. But it was like right before I was like, I think I'm going to do good. I just started trying to manifest that I think things are going to go well. Stop that negative self-talk because I tend to be this person where things, they get a little rough and I'm like, oh shit, that's it. We're in trouble, And so, it was funny. I think you and I were talking, Zach, and I was like, no, I think this is going to go good. I think this is going to go good. So, yeah.
Well, you had said something I'm curious about, and I'd like to get your take on it too, Zach. I mean, you just competed at biggest powerlifting meet, right?
Yeah.
You kicked ass. And yet you came up to it and you were saying, I don't know that I can do this. Does that ever go away at whatever level you're competing at? Like I go to comps and I always out-achieve anything that I thought that was possible, but I always have that mindset going in like,
Such a great point.
There are people out there that they seem to be great and they seem to not get nervous. One of my teammates, Maura, I was like, do you ever get nervous? She's like, not really, no. I feel like things go better on a meet day than they usually do in the gym. Usually it's in the gym when I'm crashing out or something like that.
Nice.
And I was cracking up about it because she shows up and she's just like, la, 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 la. And I was like, how do you be that way? Because I feel like before I go make my first squat, I'm going to have cardiac arrest. I'm like, breathe, you're fine. Like, having a panic. So I would love to reach that level of confidence. And if there's somebody out there listening to this, please tell me if you feel this confident, because we want to have you on the show and talk about the psychology behind this.
Great.
Because I never feel ready. I never feel like I'm enough. And I've thought about that. I'm like, why not? Why not? Like, even at higher levels of strength sports, why do I feel inferior? Is that a social media thing? Is that just human nature? Like, at what point, and I've very much noticed this in strength sports, at what point are you happy and you stop?
Yeah.
Or are you always just like you could have just done the most monumental thing and you're like, okay, moving on, not good enough, now we have new goals. What part of I would really like to know on this?
I personally think that there's two sides to this coin here. So to answer your question, no, I don't think it ever goes away. There are definitely different types of personalities that come into the strength sports. So you do have those people that they are just confident as ever, but that can kind of overreach sometimes almost into this, realm of cockiness, where I've gone to competitions before and the guy that is, telling me he's going to do this, and this, and he has the ultimate, amount of confidence in himself, oftentimes isn't able to do all the things that, he's saying he's going to do. I think that you have to have a good mixture of confidence in yourself, but also humility as well, and understanding what are things that you can do on your best and worst day. And for me, that's writing down my goals. So when I compete, I write down, knowing what my events are, I write down exactly what I can do on my worst day. So if I'm just, coming into it and I get sick the night before or something, or I, I'm not feeling my best, what can I do on my worst day and what can I do on my best day? And as long as I'm falling in between those two lines, I'm happy with that. To me, that's an achievement.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, on the flip side is when you come into a competition almost too confident, I think you set this unrealistic expectation for yourself. And I've seen people do that over and over again. I've never had that issue personally because my issue has always been myself. Like, the person that's sitting in front of me is me, and I need to get out of my own way most of the time. So there's definitely different personalities that, come into the sport and treat it differently. But I think finding that middle ground where you know exactly what you're capable of and having confidence in the fact that, hey, I've done this. I've been here before. I did a, 800-pound squat in training, right? So I should be able to, on my worst day, at least get near that, right? So that's a big one for me. I don't think it ever goes away. I think that you can definitely, go into a competition. For example, the Shot Classic this last year for me was one where I felt I'm putting it all on the line for this one. I gave up another big invite to do this show. I know what I'm capable of. I know what I can do, and I went in and did it. And I even had to, perform being sick, under some circumstances that weren't ideal. And, just knowing what I was capable of doing it, knowing that I can do this on my worst day is kind of what gets me through it. And then
I like that.
You also face that, just like we talked about before, the mental side of it, where you have those, especially in strongman, those grittier, grindier events where you really have to buckle down and, oftentimes it's not about the strength. It's about finding that strength within, versus like the physical strength. And you have to, be comfortable being uncomfortable. And, with something like the Husafel event, how many times did you feel like you were going to pass out or puke? Or, you have to have that mental threshold where you can push through that. And so something that I preach for a lot of people and for myself is really building that confidence in training. And, that's the part of training that people oftentimes forget is we're not only building linear, like for our physical body, but also mentally, so knowing that, okay, I hit a set of 6 on this, I should be able to hit a set of 4 on this and a set of 2 on that, and building without failure in training. Are you going to fail at times during your training? Are you going to miss lifts? Of course. But if you're doing it with confidence and in a humble way, where you're not going into the gym ego lifting and you're actually building and training properly, you're going to be able to build that mentally as well and carry that over into the competition. And I think, a lot of that does come with experience. The longer that you're competing, the more you kind of feel like, hey, I belong here. I've done this before. I've competed against these guys. I've done, I've gone through the battles already. So
yeah,
that's kind of my take on it, I guess.
I appreciate the insight. Absolutely. Yeah.
What do you feel like for you? Do you feel that when you go to a competition that you're kind of in your own way at times, or?
There's massive anxiety before the first event, right? Sorry. You got to get past that first event, right? I think one of my biggest issues, something that I would really like to improve on, is my competition strength is so much more than my regular working out strength, and maybe I need to work out harder in the gym. There's such a gap that I don't know what I am capable of. I surprise myself in competition. They're wonderful surprises. But like I said, like PR for bag to shoulder before Ugly Sweater was 350 for 1, and then I got 380 for 3. That's such a big gap. I would like to know what I'm capable of. Maybe it alleviates some of that anxiety. And again, I don't know if that's competitions in a crowd just really set me on fire, or do I need to work harder in my day-to-day training so that I know where I'm at? But learning curves.
Well, this has been rockin'.
Awesome.
If people want to find you, how do they go about doing that to look into more of what you're up to? And
yeah, please reach out. North Idaho Athletic Club in Moscow, Idaho. My name is Blake Taylor, and then Nyack Train on Instagram. Please reach out. And then I want to plug this really quick. We're hosting our 4th annual strongman competition, Full Zerker. It's going to be June 27th, downtown Moscow. It will be Strongman Corp sanctioned, and we're really excited to put on our biggest event for you guys yet. Please come on out. They've got a max weight overhead off jerk blocks, just like America's Strongest Man.
Fifth at America's Strongest Man, but yeah.
Yeah, we've got deadlift ladder. We've got a max distance Husavell carry. We've got a Hercules hold, and we'll finish with stone to shoulder. So it should be an awesome event, and I hope to see some people there for it.
it's awesome. Well, thank you very much for coming up. Looking forward to seeing you compete tomorrow, and I guess that's all we got, right?
Yeah. I just wanted to wish you best of luck tomorrow.
Yeah.
I know you're going to kill it. I'm excited to watch you myself, so it's going to be a fun time.
Thank you guys so much for having me. This was awesome.
Yeah.